You were getting greedy. Welcome, 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 everyone. This is Michelle Bradford, and I am back again to share with you guys some real conversations and real motivation. So, welcome to the Real Conversation, Real Motivation podcast, where we do a deeper dive into real conversations and share positive and powerful stories of overcoming challenges by finding motivation. I am your host, Michelle Bradford, and I am here to inspire you with these topics, to educate you, to powwow with you, to debate with you, or whatever it is that we're doing it, but we're doing it in a positive way. So, this podcast was created to share my stories, the things that I've gone through, the things that I've overcome, the things that some of the challenges that I deal with in life, and just our everyday things that we've learned over the years. And so we are navigating through the ups and downs, the ins and outs of the different things that we've healed from different traumas and finding purpose. And I hope to boost your confidence, and something that I say will help you to navigate life ups and downs. So let's get started. All right. So I'm so happy to be back here today. I didn't think I was going to make it today because I haven't been feeling well. I've been really not well. And so, but I told God that I was going to be consistent. So I am here, even though I don't feel 100%. And so I want to talk about something that's really, it's not simple, but it's something that we've all dealt with in our life, people that we've dealt with. Maybe you might be the narcissist, or you have somebody in your life that lives with or deals with narcissistic personality disorder. This is something that, being honest, I never really knew anything about narcissism or narcissist. I never knew anything about that, like a deeper dive into that, what that was, until I was able to kind of deal with a very, very serious situation when I first moved to Florida. And it really like threw me into a situation where I had to figure out some stuff real quick, because some things were happening to my life that was detrimental to my health, to my strength, and to who I was as a person. And so it was funny because it was happening at work and in my private life. And then also, it was also happening in my family life. And so it was coming from all angles. And if you don't know what it is, because I will be honest with you and tell you that, sometimes I was naive. I didn't know. I wasn't exposed. I had no idea, you know. Um, I just didn't know. So anyway, I am here to kind of share with you guys some thoughts. There are some people that, if you are on my Facebook, Michelle Bradford, and you want to talk and share share more about this, please go over to my Casey Detox Diva page, or you can go over to YouTube to my Michelle Bradford page, a holistic motivator page, because you're not able to comment here. You can listen, but you can't comment on my profile. I'm not sure why. I'm still trying to figure that out. But if you want to comment and you want to come up on the panel, let me know. You can leave a comment either on my KC Detox Diva page or Michelle Bradford on YouTube. But anyway, so let's just talk about this a little bit. So let's talk about an overview first of all. What is narcissistic personality disorder? It's a mental condition in which a person has an unreasonable, high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. Narcissist personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, and financial matters. People with narcissistic personality disorder may generally be unhappy and disappointed when they are not given the special favors or admiration that they believe they deserve. They may find that their relationships are troubled and unfulfilling, and other people may not enjoy being around them. Treatment for narcissistic personality disorder centers around talking therapy and also psychotherapy. Narcissistic personality disorder affects more males than females and it often begins in teenage or early adulthood. Some children may show traits of narcissism, but this is often typical for their age and doesn't mean that they're going to develop narcissistic personality disorder. So you have to know that narcissistic personality disorder is a mental condition, but you can have narcissistic trait. Everybody has some degree on the spectrum of some kind of narcissistic trait. You may have a small amount, you may have a large amount, but then you have the people that have the narcissistic personality disorder. And so I can think of 5 or 6 people right now that actually have narcissistic personality disorder. And then I can think of multiple people right now that have multiple personality, the traits. They may have a little trait here and there. You may have something that you think is so important in your job and you did a great job and you think you did awesome, but it really wasn't that big of a deal, but you thought it was awesome and you thought that everybody should praise you for it. And so sometimes, people can get off into those traits, but the most important thing is that to know that there are people with the trait and then there are people who have the actual disorder. So let's talk about symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. So symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder it's a spectrum. It can be severe, it just depends. It varies on the person. So, like I said before, having an unrealistic high sense of self-importance and require constant and excessive admiration, feeling that they deserve privilege and special treatment. Karens, those that word everybody talk about, the Karens and the Kens. That is a perfect example of people who are narcissists. So they expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements, making achievements and talents seem bigger than they are. Being preoccupied with fantasies about success and power and beauty of the perfect mate, believing that they are superior to others and can only spend time with or be understood by equally special people. Be critical of and look down on people they feel are not important. That's one of the big ones to me. People that look down on others. That I know a lot of people like that. Man, oh boy. So expect special favors and expect others to do what they want without questioning them. Don't question their style. Don't question what they say. Because when you start talking about narcissism, it goes that you can break this gets broke down into multiple different types of narcissistic personality, and you can really get off into this. So we're going to get off into this, and we're going to talk about this in depth a little more each week, because we just need to take our time and kind of pull apart what this means, and so that we have a better understanding and we can learn together about the different types of narcissistic traits and things like that. They want to be they're envious of others and believe others are envious of them. They behave in an arrogant way and brag a lot. I cannot stand braggadocious people who come across as conceited. That when I tell you, that immediately is a turnoff for me. It doesn't matter if it's a man or woman. I'm just like, ugh, I cannot stand it. That is one of my major pet peeves. I can't stand people like that. Have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. So you have some people, they'll try to act like that they don't, that they have empathy, but they really don't. They pretend. They put on this mask because they don't want you to know right away that that's what they have. Or if they have an agenda, a hidden agenda, they're like, well, huh, I don't know. Maybe I can manipulate them if but most of them become unmasked. After a while, they can only cover up for so long. So they take advantage of others to get what they want. I can think of many people, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was a doormat. People walked on me. I didn't recognize some of the behaviors. I knew they were toxic, but I didn't know the behaviors. And by the time I recognized it, they have used me, threw me up, chewed me up, spit me out, those kind of things. And so being a kind-hearted person, sometimes they will take advantage of those type of people. We call them strong-willed children. And so if we don't get them under control, those strong-willed children will turn into strong-willed adults. And so they will insist on having the best of everything. For instance, the best car, the best office, and they don't have the money to pay for it, or they expect somebody else to help them. So those are a few symptoms that that they have listed under the mailclinic.org. So that's where I'm reading from right now, mailclinic.org. And so if you want to read more about the symptoms and things like that, please do go over to mayo clinic.org, and you can find out more about narcissistic trait personality. I also want to share with you that I do have a YouTube channel for real conversation, real motivation. Hi, Julie. Welcome, sweetheart. It's been a long time. I ain't seen you. So, yeah, so narcissist, I was going to say, I'm sorry. So I got distracted. So I have a YouTube channel that is called Real Conversation, Real Motivation Podcast. I don't have enough subscribers. If you could please go over to that channel and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'm gonna go and get the actual channel information, and if you could go over there and subscribe, I would truly appreciate it. Once I get the channel link, because once I get 50 people over there, I can actually go live. And so I really want to really start posting. I'm going to start posting my podcast over there, but I really want to have people go over there and be a part of that channel as well. So I will post it here shortly. Hey, Danielle, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Just trying to find my channel, my other channel, looking for it, and I can't find it. So I will be going over there as soon as I find this information. So I'm on the current channel, but I need to switch it so I can provide the link. But anyway, while I'm looking for that, let's continue to talk about narcissists. If anybody wants to share some of their stories or something that you've gone through with the narcissist, I am very happy to let you come up on the panel and let's talk about it. I'll make sure I have my link the next time because I'm not finding it. All right, so I will tell you a story, a personal story that I'm going through right now with my son, my oldest son. He is a narcissist, and he does a lot of deflection, and he'll call me a narcissist. He has a lot of that, and I believe that it started when he was younger because he has a brother who has special needs. And so I believe that, I did put a lot of my attention into the youngest son because he was having a lot of behavior problems. I was having to pick him up from school. I was actually sick too. I was going through a brain disorder that wasn't diagnosed. And so I believe that he was neglected. He felt neglected and he was ignored. And he was so smart and he was so independent that, as a mother, I feel like that I depended on him more than I should have. And I believe that that's part of his issue. But I will tell you that he's also an alcoholic, and um, he has attacked me multiple times over the years when he gets drunk. It used to be, through text message and Facebook, and then it become more where he would do it on the phone. He got more bolder, and he would leave all kind of crazy text messages and all kinds of stuff. And so, I really want to pray for him because, I refuse to allow somebody to mistreat me. It is verbal and emotional abuse, and I will not allow somebody to do that to me. So I will tell you that my personal issues that I have multiple family members with narcissistic personality. And I will tell you that it's really sad because I had to move to Florida to start my healing process. I was very sick. I was going through a lot of stuff in my life. And so moving here, before I even moved here, I dealt with a lot of attacks because there's one person, and I can't name her name, but she was a narcissist and she did not get her way, and it's a sad situation. But I'm very grateful that that situation happened because of that situation, I learned a lot more about myself. So you know, it's a really sad thing that you have all these mental health issues, and people deal with so many different mental health issues like narcissistic personality disorder or anxiety or depression or bipolar disorder. There's so many different disorders out there, and I think that some of them are, nurturing you when from your childhood and trauma. I believe that some of them are from environmental. I believe some of them are from your family because you have a dysfunctional family, and I think that there's a lot of factors that causes these type of behaviors to happen. So as we continue to talk about it, I want to just say some people with narcissistic personality have trouble handling anything that they view as criticism. That is massively huge. You better not go against a narcissist. You better not go against them. I'm telling you, because if you do, they might become impatient or angry when they don't receive special recognition or treatment. Hey, you better go out of your way to treat them a certain kind of way. And just imagine being married or having a relationship with a narcissist. I dated a guy a few years ago, off and on for several years. And I did not realize that he was a narcissist. But you know what? He was abused as a child over and over and over by a family member. And I'm talking about physical, like horrible, terrible abuse. I can't imagine a child be going through the actual physical and emotional and spiritual abuse that his family member did to him. And I didn't find out a lot about that part of it until later. Now, mind you, we dated when I was in my heart of my illness before I had brain surgery. So much of my life I just been surviving. I'm just going to be honest. I didn't thrive a lot. I just was surviving. I was just trying to make it through the day. So if somebody gave me some attention and, they were okay with me in my sickness, I kind of just went with that because I didn't feel like, nobody else would be interested in me in that regard because of my sickness and illness. And when I say I was very sick, and I was taking a lot of painkillers, and I was taking Valium, and I was barely there. Mentally, I was dealing with my own crap, and I was emotionally and spiritually broken. I was mad at God. I was jealous. I was so negative because I was just so sick that, you know, this guy, I met him online, and I think we met on POF, and he was going through emotional and mental sickness because he was a combat vet, and he was going through his all kinds of stuff. And I didn't know a lot of this stuff about him till later, but he had gotten Bracken means he got put in the hospital right before we started talking. I didn't know that. So much of our relationship was non-sexual. We didn't have a sexual relationship. It was just us being there, him there, and I'm there, and we just there. And many times he stood me up, and then I'll get mad at him for a while, and then we talk again. And then he would stand me up, or he wouldn't call, or he wouldn't follow through, or something happened. And it was just continuous. And finally, I stopped talking to him. And then he would call me, and then we start talking again. And it's that love bombing. So, have you heard of the love bombing? Well, I got love bombed by him. Even when he moved to Florida. Now, his family lived here, and I wanted to move here, but I had told him I was moving here before I knew he was going to move to Florida. So he's in Florida, and we actually hooked up after I moved here. He made me so mad. I didn't tell him for almost 2 years that I was in Florida because I just didn't feel like dealing with him. Maybe it might have been 3 years. And then we started talking, and he started with his shenanigans, and he would have these outbursts, and he would act all. I was like, girl, why are you dealing with this person? I think I saw him all of maybe 5 times, and I couldn't deal with that. And then I kicked him to the curb because it was just too much. I'm like, I don't have time for this. At that point, I could identify and I could see the behaviors. I knew what it was. And sometimes when you know more about what you're dealing with, you know how, you know what you don't want. Sometimes when you can't put your finger on it, you keep dabbling in it, and you're not realizing, especially when, you know, I hadn't had a lot of relationship experience. I mean, I'll be honest, I have very few relationship experiences in my life. I've been out of a relationship that was very toxic for 15 years. And that's a whole nother one that I will tell y'all about. Maybe I'll tell y'all about that one after this one. I don't know. But every relationship that was serious, I've never been in love. I've loved people, but I've never been in love. And I've never, dealing with chronic illness and sickness is really hard to focus on trying to put energy into a relationship when you're dealing with your own stuff. And so, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful that God allowed me to learn about these things, even though it might have taken me 50 years to get here, or 49 years. I was 49, 5 years, to understand and learn, and I'm still learning. I'm just grateful that God had to separate me in order to elevate me. And in the elevation, He's teaching me how to understand and learn about these negative things that I didn't know. Because how can you be a motivational speaker when you got to know both sides of the spectrum? You got to know the negative stuff, and you got to identify some things to be able to talk about the positive stuff, the stuff that you overcome, the stuff that you've been through, the people that you dealt with, the relationships that you had, your family, the generational curses. How can you be a motivational speaker when you're not able to identify the negative things on this side of it? So you got to be able to see. And then also, let's be honest here, seeing some of that negativity in yourself, you know, seeing some of that negativity in yourself, period. So I'm going to tell you that I'm grateful that God put me here, that He took me out of my circumstance. He's showing me what I need to do, to be a better person. I'm gonna tell you. And so I'm just trying to check and make sure you guys can hear me okay. So I'm just grateful that God is sharing with me, and I can share with you, because there might be somebody out there that um, don't know. They may not have experience. They have never heard of narcissism. My mother says she had never heard of the word narcissist. So there are some people in, older age that never heard of this. I had never heard of it myself. So, but when you know better, you do better, right? So that is where I am in my life. When I know better, I do better. If you're wanting to come on and leave comments on my live stream, go over to KC Detox Diva page on Facebook, or go to Michelle Bradford on YouTube, the Holistic Motivator on YouTube, and you can also comment and we can talk about it, because my actual profile, Michelle Bradford on Facebook, will not allow you to leave comments here. So I'm still trying to figure that piece of it out. So I do apologize. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So narcissists, they have troubles handling criticism. So let's talk about more about that. Go deeper into that. So having problems interacting with other people easily, and they kind of act a little, with rage or contempt, and then they'll try to belittle you. Oh, Lord have mercy. That dude that I dated, he tried to belittle me, and he did it a few times, and I felt some kind of way. I'm like, dude, you know what? I would tell him, you're not going to treat me like that. You're not going to belittle me. You're not going to mistreat me. You're not doing that to me. So he make himself feel superior. So I have stuttering issues. Sometimes when I get nervous, I stutter. I also have dyslexia, and so it was hard for me to learn. And sometimes I have, issues with putting words together. A lot of times I will video text, because I mean, not video, voice text, because I don't, I have a hard time putting things together. So sometimes I might have some, some typos. And I remember one time, he texts me and I text him back, and he says, "Oh my God, you got a degree and you can't even type." You know what that was? He's upset because he's tried to get his degree several times and he could not. So he would always say that he don't know if he could be with somebody who had a degree and he didn't have one. And he would always give me heck about going back to school. Or he would always, you think you're better than me. I've never said that. I've never portrayed myself that way. But he was so insecure about himself that, he would say all kind of craziness to me and try to belittle me, belittle my job, belittle, like when I moved into my apartment and he found out how much money I was paying there. "Why are you paying that kind of money?" I said, "This is none of your business. None of your business." Or a time when I was in his car driving it, going back to his home, because he lived about an hour and a half from me, and he had work that day, so I said I would drive. He came to pick me up, and I was driving back, and I went to go a different way. "Why are you going that way? You need to go this way." I said, "I'm going this way. They both ways will get me to the same place." And he tells me, "It's my car," and I said, "I'm damn driving. So you decide what you want to do." So anyway, I will tell you that narcissists, they can be a lot. So they have difficulty managing their emotions and behaviors. So with him, one time we went to the pier and something happened. I won't go into the details of what happened, but it just set him off for no reason. We were having a good time, and all of a sudden he just flipped out. We start arguing, and he's in the car banging his head on the steering wheel, and I was looking at him like he's crazy. And this is all within that time frame, y'all, that month. Those 5 times that we were together, every time we was together, he always had something to say. And after that fifth time, and within the fifth time, 3 of those times were the same weekend. I was actually at his house, and I didn't know. Oh my God, you guys! I let him pick me up instead of me driving to his home, and so I was stuck. I couldn't leave. I was on his dime. So that's what they do. They get you where they want you, where you're under their thumb and under their control. And there's nothing that you could do about it. You just have to take it. I was so pissed off. As soon as I could go home, I said I would never deal with him again, because that was it. And let me tell you, I never saw him again. I told him, you need to take me home now. I will never deal with you again. But at least three out of the five times that he did, he kept talking crazy to me. And I'm going to say, actually, it probably was more than five times, because now that I remember, I was cooking and he would stand over me and try to tell me, and tell me what to do. Or one time I drove his car to the store and he ran outside flagging me down, talking about I almost hit a brick. And I'm like, did I hit it? No, but you almost hit it. It was nitpicky. Everything was a nitpick. Okay, everything was a nitpick. So I'm telling you, he had a hard time, with his emotion and his behavior. One time we was in the car with his mother. This is the same weekend, and he kept looking at his phone when he was driving. And I asked him to put his phone away because he was making me nervous. And he yelled at me with his mother in the car. And we were going to the flea market. I didn't speak to him not one time at that flea market or going home. I told him, take me home. When I tell you, I kept telling him to take me home and he wouldn't take me home. I finally, he took me home, and then he tried to act like I had a really great time with you and I can't wait to do it again. I said, you out of your dang mind. I will never see you again. Don't ever call me. Don't ever call me. Don't ever, nothing. I'm done with you. You will never, ever, ever, never, ever be in my life ever again. And when I tell y'all, he actually messaged me a few, maybe a month or so after that, you know, saying how he was sorry. And I was just like, what in the world? So I will tell you that it was crazy, nuts, bananas. All I can say is I have never seen anything like that in my life. The way he acted, and he was apologizing, and he was sorry, and that he loved me, and he don't know why he was acting like that. And I told him, I said, after dealing with you, I need therapy. I told him I would never, ever, ever deal with him ever again, and I meant that. I meant that. That was right before COVID. I believe it was January 2020. And I told him, we talked for, I told y'all, like, for maybe a month. It was from December to January. I was done. And, I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Relationships, friendships, kinships, family members. But if you are here on YouTube, let me know what your experiences are. If you are on my Facebook, let me know, leave a comment after the live stream is over and tell me all about it, because I'm going to tell y'all, I do need therapy because he was awful. And I will tell you, dealing with my son, I said, I've started looking up therapists. I have some. I'm going to be taking therapy in January. I can't, I think that we all should do therapy, just to get some things off our chest. So you don't have the PTSD stuff, don't continue to come up where you having these emotional roller coasters and stress. So, you know, we're going to get back on top of this, and we're going to talk more about the criticism, how they have issues and trouble with handling criticism. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So they have a difficult, okay, so I already talked about that, having difficulty managing their emotions and behavior. So they experience major problems with dealing with stress and adapting to change. Whew, don't I know? Because as soon as something happens and they start yelling and acting crazy, and and taking it out on you because you're the closest person to them, so they always find the person that's close to them. It could be his wife or her husband. She could take it out on her husband, on her children. She can take it out on her mother or father. He can take it out on his brother or sister. It just, they take it out on other people, because when they're going through that stress and trying to adapt to change, they have a hard time. They tended to lash out on other people. Am I not right? I'm right. I believe that. So tell me, what do you think? Hey, how are you? I don't have Anisha here. Um, so they withdraw from and allow situations in which they might fail. So um this dude kept going back to school. back to school, back to school. And he kept failing. He's like, I can't do it, but then he would criticize me about my going to school and, my job and my, what I've gone through. Instead of him, dealing with his own stuff, he would, lash out on me. That's just another one that he did. Sometimes they feel depressed and moody because they fall short of perfection. So if they falling short of perfection, my son, for instance, going to school, this dude had a major scholarship, and and right now he's not living up to none of his expectation of what he thought he was going to do in his life, and he takes that out on other people. So I'm just telling y'all, it's crazy because sometimes they feel like they're insecure and shamed and humiliated and fear of being exposed as a failure. And what, because of those reasons, because of their insecurities and shame and humiliation and fear of failure, they will take it out on the closest people to them. They will lash out on those people. And when those people do not respond, like me, I'm not responding, I'm done, and I'm walking away, they will try to get you in situations where you don't have control, but they have control. And it's crazy. It's really crazy to me. So I have many girlfriends that talk about how they were in relationships where their boyfriends were like this. And it's so sad because many of us, we stay with these people that mistreat us. And many times we don't realize the manipulation and the gaslighting that they do in order to manipulate us and get us where they want us, or they lie to us. We see that the sky is blue, but they swear it's green, and they're telling you, you're lying. The sky is not green, it's not blue, the sky is green. Look at it. And you see it's blue, but sometimes you question your thoughts and like, wait a minute, is he right? What? And so, the thing is that we have to start educating ourselves and understanding, because these things can affect us in a negative way. These people can be not just emotionally abusive, they can be physically abusive. And you deserve to be treated with respect and love. And so we have to take this education and understanding right now and say, you know what? I deserve more than what this person is offering to me. And, and it's unfortunate that, these people have this mental illness and they're lashing out at you. But a lot of times exacerbated by drug use and alcohol abuse and depression and, stress from jobs and from school and from different things. And so it's unfortunate that, they're trying to navigate through life with this situation. And it's really sad. You look at these people and it's just, you're like, I really, really, really wish that they had professional help. I wish they could get diagnosed and treated. I've seen several people out there that have YouTube channels right now or social media that are previous former narcissists that talk about, the different behaviors and how people are being treated and, what to recognize and how to identify it. And I think that's the first thing for the people that are in the relationships that don't have power, that they feel like their power has been taken away from them. That, this person is, they feel so broken and so down that they're just letting these people just treat them any kind of way. They exploit you. They feel like they're entitled to whatever you have. So if you got money, they're taking it away from you, or they won't give you any money because, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. and they don't give you money because they have control. And so a lot of them will try to have control over the finances, over the home, over everything. And, they'll even try to use the Bible and God. you know, the man is the head of the household. They'll use personal pieces of the Bible to try to, reinforce your woman's supposed to be submissive, these type of things to make you feel some kind of way. And so as a person dealing with narcissism, you know, you have to be able to be stronger, and try to understand it. So if you understand it, what's that saying? You know better, you do better. Um, that's important. So I'm typing here right now, and I want to just talk a little bit more, and then we're going to have a part two of this conversation because we're going to go into a deeper dive into narcissist behavior, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But before I leave today, I just want to give you some tips on dealing with people with narcissistic personality. Because I feel like if you learn how to deal with these people and know how to deal with their personality, that you know better, you do better, right? That's how I feel about it. You know better, you do better. So let's talk about it for a second, real quick. We got about 20 minutes. I'm doing an hour today instead of 30 minutes. But the next week, we're going to get into different types of narcissism. We're going to talk about the different traits. And then we're going to talk about the different types of narcissism. And then the third week, we're going to talk about the traits. And if we have time, we'll talk about some of them next week as well. So we'll talk about the different kind, covert, overt narcissism. We'll kind of go into deeper dive of the different types, and people can have multiple types. So we'll talk about the different kinds of narcissism next week. And then after that, if we have time, we'll talk about the traits, about the love bombing and all of that, the harem garage. We'll talk more about that. But if we don't, we'll just keep this going, and we'll do it we'll do a part 3. So this is part 1, and then we'll do a part 2, and then we'll do a part 3. So let's talk about, the 10 tips for dealing with someone with narcissistic personality. Whew, let's talk about it. So the first thing you want to do is educate yourself about narcissistic personality disorder. That's number 1. That's what I did. Could not identify it, because if you help yourself to better understand the person's strengths and weaknesses, you'll know how to navigate those challenges, So learning about that and accepting them for who they are instead of settling for, the extreme, uh, the imaginary person who they think they are, that you're actually the realistic expectations of who that person is, because you need to you need to understand how it works, the ins and outs of workings of narcissistic personality disorder. The other thing is, if you have been letting this person break you down, you are a doormat, you have just let them abuse you, mistreat you, dog you out, and you really need to build your confidence. Building healthy confidence, healthy, self-esteem. It's very important to build healthy self-esteem. It makes it easier to cope with some of the harmful behaviors you may be encountering with people with narcissistic disorder or tendencies. Engaging in positive self-talk. Do you know that you have these 2 things on the side of your head? And the thing of it is, you've been letting that person just talk into your ear, break you down to the studs. But what you have to do as an individual is that you have to manifest positivity. You have to speak positive into your life. And if you don't remember to do that, what you need to do is get some sticky notes and put them all over your house. Put them on your phone. Give a reminder. They have a motivational app that you can get on there as a motivational app, an inspirational app. You need to create a vision board. Something that is going to remind you to be positive, that you are beautiful, that you are loved, that you are smart, that you are amazing. Don't let that person break down your self-confidence, and practicing self-care. Instead of pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring into people that are not pouring into you, and you're constantly pouring into somebody that is just drinking it up. They are spiritual vampires. It's just taking everything you got. Instead of doing that, you need to pour into yourself. And I will tell you what I love about social media. What I love about social media. There's a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of people that say they stay off social media because of negativity, but God told me that you got to counteract. Everywhere you go, there's a negative and a positive. So if everybody leaves social media because of the negativity, we will never be able to overcome. So we have to create a positive community on social media. We got to continue to keep being positive in our health, in our strength, in our life, and in our mental. Okay, the mental is important, because when your mental is messed up, your physical is messed up. When you can raise your vibrations because you're doing things that you love, you're taking care of yourself, you're telling yourself that you're amazing, and you're doing self-care. Period. When you start doing self-care, you have a higher regard for yourself, and it's easier to set clearer boundaries, because when you don't have all of that, and you're not assertive, and you're not advocating for yourself, you have low self-esteem, and you're letting that person walk all over you. But the way to maintain healthy relationships with somebody who has narcissistic personality, if that's what you want to do, you have to lay ground rules, clear boundaries, be assertive, advocate for yourself, period. So in advocating for yourself, ignoring or simply walking away, picking your battles. Do you know what that does when you walk away from them and you don't say nothing? Oh, that just takes away all their power. I'm telling you. So you feel, if your boundaries have been crossed, or they're, they you have to be consistent as well. So if they're crossing your boundaries, you got to let them know, hey, we're not having that. Try not to react. Try not to look visibly flustered, and do not show annoyance. When you got a poker face, they can't stand that. Number 4, enforce clear, concise boundaries. We talked about the boundaries. Practice skills to keep calm, deep breathing, yoga, meditation. So when you're interacting with people that have the narcissistic personality or disorder or the tendencies, you're practicing the calmness, and you're not letting that person challenge you. My words always said is, when you lose control, you're giving control to somebody else over you. So let's keep in control. Let's keep calm. Finding a support system. That's important. Having a support system. If you can't avoid that person, you got to find a support system. And a lot of times you got narcissists in your family. You can't afford them. Get-togethers, all that kind of stuff, but instead of going to the family get-togethers, you're not obligated. Go do something that you want to do for yourself. Go find you a hobby, a class, go do volunteer work, do something. But you don't have to deal with that unless you just want to. Number 7, insist on immediate action and not promises. Because narcissists will promise you, they will promise you and promise you, and then they will fall short of that promise and then yell at you like it was your fault. Actions speak louder than words. So don't believe everything you hear. Number 8, understanding that narcissist person may need professional help. Now, that's very important. But the thing is that narcissist has to want to get the help. It's possible that some people display certain traits, where they think that they don't need mental health. They don't need it. And so, the people that I've seen that were previous narcissists, that they went out and got help, and they can recognize it. Because a lot of times you can recognize a person's behavior because you used to be like that. And when you can't recognize it, you got to educate yourself so you can recognize it and understand it so that you know how to deal with it. So number 9 is recognizing when you need help. So that's important. So a dysfunctional relationship with somebody who has uh, NPD can leave you emotionally drained. I always say if somebody does not pour into your spirit, they're taken away from it. And you need to remove yourself. So you got to get away from that. It can cause you to have anxiety and depression and unexplained physical ailments. It is very important that you see your primary care or you see health professionals, because they can help you to get support groups. They can give you referrals. They can help you get out of the situation. And then number 9, go back up to number 1. If you recognize that you need help, you need to start with number 1 and go through number 1 through number 8. Okay. And then if number 1 through number 8 don't work and you at number 9 again, number 10 is understanding when it's time to move on. You got to move on. Sometimes, you know what? Your mental is more important than that relationship. You're being manipulated and controlled and isolated. You're being verbally and emotionally abused. You're being physically abused and feel threatened. You're being blamed for everything that's going wrong in that person's life. They're calling you names, insulting you. They're denying you things that, and attempting to gaslight you. They're monitoring your movement. If you got somebody that is jealous hearted and they putting air tags in your car and they following you and they got you on a tracker and they following you different places. I actually was in a relationship married to this person for 1 month. We got an annulment. I remember he used to come in my job and stand in the aisle and watch me when I was a cashier. I remember that. Very, very, it was crazy. Telling you how you really feel. Man, you can't have no opinion. They telling you how you feel. So I'm just telling you, if they are hiding your medication, if they're hitting you, shoving you, any bodily harm, locking you out of the house, sexually assaulting you, breaking things or throwing things, controlling what you eat, how much you eat. Can't have an opinion. You're scared to say anything. You're walking on eggshells. You know, you routinely projecting their shortcomings on you. I'm just telling you, if you're going through all of that, I'm telling you right now, that is something that you got to get out of. You have to walk away. Get help. If you don't know how to get help and you're fear that this person is going to hurt you or they have hurt you, you need to go to the national, I can't even talk. This is domestic violence hotline. I apologize. This is personal to me because I've never been, I got assaulted by somebody, but I've never been abused like physically in a relationship. But I have been emotionally and mentally abused. And I think about the different people that have died because of, or unalive because of this situation. So if you need the National Domestic Violence Hotline, is 800-799-7233. They're open 24/7 if you need help. If you need mental resources, you can go to the website American Psychiatrists Association and find a psychiatrist. You can go to the American Psychological Association psychiatrist locator. Or if you're a veteran, you can go to the VA, the Veterans Affairs, and they have certified counselors. If you're in immediate danger, please contact 911 or your local emergency services to remove yourself from the situation. So this is a very heavy topic. This is part 1, and we're going to go into part 2. Very heavy. So I want you guys to know that if there's somebody here that needs more help, you can reach out underneath this and leave a comment, or you can email me. I believe my email right now, or you can actually send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram is RCRM Podcast, or on Facebook, you can leave me a message under Michelle Bradford on my messenger. And I will make sure that I have my YouTube channel posted in this live stream next week. And I will make sure that I have my email address as well. So if you want to email me, you can. So I want to thank each and every one of you right now for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I want to say a prayer for you, for your family, to anyone that's in an abusive relationship or even in your family, like me and my son, like I was with my guy that I had dated or my ex. Um, I'm praying for you because I know that it can be hard. Sometimes you have a soul tied with that person and you feel like you can see the goodness in them. It's in there somewhere, but there's so much murkiness and toxicity. But as soon as you want to walk away, they start being nice and sweet and kind and loving to you, and it makes you confused and you're not sure what to do. That's love bombing. Don't let them manipulate you. You need to clear your mind, clear your heart, and have a better understanding of the things that these people are trying to do to you. You are important. You are loved. You need to love yourself more than you love that person. You are important, and it's important that you understand that it's time to be selfish. It's time to have self-care, self-love, and self-respect. You have given all that you can. You are down to the studs. You have no more energy left. You're nothing but just dry bones. Your spirit is just broken. It is time to step away from that situation because you are valued and you deserve to be treated the way you want to be treated and not the way that they treat you. If you are coming into this live stream and it's about to end, please go and watch the replay. I love you. God bless you. And I will see you next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to talk about the different types of narcissists. God bless you. Take care.